everybody, and welcome to Positive Fandom. I am your host, RM, and of course, we have with us today Darth Plato, who's right here. Hi, Darth Plato. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. It is typical October weather way.
Okay, that seems fair. It is really nice here in New York. My temperature gauge says it's 73 degrees, which is perfect weather here. We finally don't have any more rain, at least right now, and I'm enjoying this nice weather. It's going to stay. Today might have been the last warm day, but I'll take what I can get. I'm happy with it. I also want to say hello to people in the chat. Tom Jr. Jackson says, good afternoon, evening. Welcome to Positive Fandom for our historical live watch party for the Deer Hunter. Like and subscribe. The movie is on Netflix, guys. So if you have Netflix, you can watch it. Um, or if you have a personal copy, you can watch it too. And of course, this Deer Hunter film was a very uh, popular film at that time it came out. And I remember Darth Plato, this film um, coming out, and my father and brother watching it on television, and I wasn't allowed to watch it. It was I guess the nature of the film. It was
Hmm.
too, like it was rated R, of course, but certainly I remember this film so well because my father and brother had to watch this film whenever it came on the television. Darth Plato, when did you first see it? Have you seen The Deer Hunter before? And if you
I
have, when did you see it?
I have not seen the movie before.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That is very interesting um, to know. Um, Certainly very interesting to know. Wow. Okay, so this is going to be really good. Linwood Kent is here. Says, "Hi, Artem. Just here, waiting in the wings. A little birdie told me Darth is on the way. Oh, yes, and you're here, Darth Plato. Hi, Linwood Kent. Good to see you, as always. And of course, Grogu is here. Says hello, everyone. Well, hello, Brogu. Says hi, Darth Plato. And what a sweet thing to say, Brogu. Hello to the beautiful art. Nice to see you. Nice to see you as well. Thank you for the kind words. Yes, Brogu says the Deer Hunter is on Netflix, everybody. 1978 Deer Hunter. Of course, Tom Jr. Jackson, my moderator, collaborator, and good friend. Um, so good to see you here, Tom Jr. Jackson. We are all goof people. Yes, it is going to be pricey, isn't it, Tom? Yeah, Netflix might be losing some subscribers, but for right now, God help us, it is on there. Yeah, I know it's going to rain, Tom. I know. It's okay. If you know the cast, they will come and reenact the film for you. And you've never seen it either, Tom. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I'm really curious as to what you guys will think about this film. $27, it's a chunk of change, isn't it? Certainly something to think about, everybody, when you're looking at your subscriptions, what you are willing to pay. I think a lot of people are going to have to change their subscription prices. So that's going to happen. Not everybody will be able to afford it, but just enjoy it while it lasts. Um, I've been a Netflix subscriber for over 20 years. It's got to be 20 years now, right? Darth Plato, remember when they had the discs?
No.
Yeah. So Netflix used to rent out discs. They used to be like Blockbuster or any other movie rental place. And
I used to work at Blockbuster. Our Blockbuster closed down, I think, in 2002, I think.
hmm
Yeah, that's a while
and
ago.
yeah, Tom remembers. Yeah, Tom. So you used to rent the discs as well, Tom, and then I guess maybe they sold most of those discs. I still have my Inception disc that I rented from Netflix many years ago. I used to like their service even when it was just you could just borrow three at a time or something, right? Right, Tom, or limited unlimited version. Yeah, yeah, Brogy, you remember it? The discs in the mail from, of course, we're talking about Netflix, everybody.
Yeah, I was at Blockbuster right when they were transitioning from tapes to discs. And I was glad they did that because discs are so much easier to handle. The tapes were just so awkward.
Yeah, and it was always like be kind, rewind situation with the tapes. Nobody ever rewound them. Um,
Yeah.
you know, Tom says, yes, I did. Up until last week, they were still sending out DVDs and letting people keep them. Really, Tom? Oh, I didn't know it was up until last week. I would have been asking them for DVDs. So it ended last week, huh? Oh man. Oh well. Grogu says he remembers the disc in the mall. Yes, in the mail. Excuse me, in the mail. And certainly that was a part of our youth. For many of us when we were younger, I guess 20 years ago, it might have been 20 years ago. But certainly something I remember with fondness, Darth Plato, and I hope many of you probably also remember it with fondness. What a time to be alive. And now many of us have physical media collections of our favorites. This was a very serious film. It won, right, Darth Plato? It won.
I don't know. Did it?
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
It won for Best Picture
Oh,
in
really?
1970. I didn't know this. I had to look it up, guys. I didn't know this. Um, it won Academy Award for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor for Christopher Walken, Best Sound, and Best Film Editing. And this was Meryl Streep's first Academy Award nomination. Of course, she went on to win many awards. And guys, it says some of the industry's most prominent critics derided that what they viewed as a deer hunter's simplistic, bigoted, and historically inaccurate depictions of the Viet Cong.
Who's the main?
Yeah,
Who?
and it should be very interesting to see this. It's listed on one of the best films ever made, and of course, this was 1978, I think, when the film came out. As I said, I wasn't allowed to watch it, and my father and brother, whenever it came out, they watched it on TV. It stars Robert De Niro,
Oh,
John
wow.
Cazale, yeah, John Savage, Meryl Streep, and Christopher Walken.
Yeah,
So
that's some first rate guy there.
absolutely, Darth Plato. So let's see how this goes. I'm gonna. Why did my TV? Don't do that, TV. Stop that. Sorry.
Where am I? I am.
If you wait too long, it doesn't like you doing that. So let me just put it.
So I'm at the scene where the credits are done and they're just coming on. I don't know. I don't know how far in that is.
Okay, well that's okay. I think it's. Let me see. I am at the scene where I see something that. What does that say? Universal, an MCA company, and let's see. 18 seconds. It says EMI
Uh,
presents 21.
oh, it's
Is
3 hours, 3 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, it's a long film. I'm at the head where you see Robert De Niro's name, guys. It's at 26 seconds where you see Robert De Niro's um, credit. 26, 25. Wow, that's pretty good. At 25 or 26 seconds, you're going to see Robert De Niro's name popping up on the screen, guys. Let me just get this one synced here. I have to have a different one, or else I can't watch it.
I'm trying to get to that point. Robert De
Around.
Niro. Okay, I see it.
Okay, so let's play at 3, 2, 1. Press play. Let's do it.
All right.
Okay, this is a Michael Cimino film. The Deer Hunter. And my father and brother would sit down and watch this film. Even when it had commercials, they watched this. Thank you, Brogu, who says that it was a big deal in the movie industry. It was. It was. Brogu, did you see this in the theater? Let us know if you did.
Just wanted to say hello to everybody in the chat and say thank you for Tom Jr. Jackson for moderating.
Yeah, absolutely. And really want to get your opinions of you guys who haven't seen this film before. I want to get your opinions about about the film and what you're seeing. Just your opinions while we're watching it. Just go ahead and type that in the chat so we know what you guys are thinking and feeling and stuff like that. I got my shrimp salad here. Um, Tom says John Cazale was Meryl Streep's boyfriend in real life. Tom, I never know if it's that's what you mean. Oh, you saw it on cable? Okay. Okay, Brogu, thank you for letting us know. And thank you, Tom.
How do you know what you're watching isn't the real world and we're actually in the movie?
I like that, Darth Plato.
There's somewhere someone getting popcorn watching this.
Yes, they are. They're watching me eat my shrimp salad.
In my case, they're probably going to sleep about me.
No, it's too dark. Okay, so it looks like a steel town, right?
It sure does. Yeah, it's like maybe Pennsylvania. I always think of Pennsylvania when I think of Steel Town.
Hmm. That's a good point, Tom. Definitely Flashdance.
And where did they make the steel for the buildings in New York? Do they make them in New York or do they just ship to New York?
I think they were probably made in Pittsburgh, somewhere in Pennsylvania, like what Brogu was saying. Allentown, Pennsylvania, maybe.
Hmm.
I don't know all the whether that's entirely true, but I'm guessing that's probably it. Brogu says that's some hard work. That steel is hot as hell. I believe it. So these guys in the movie are supposed to be in Pennsylvania. They're Pennsylvania steelworkers, Darth Plato. I had to look it up.
It was a good guess. Yeah, if they'd been putting cars together, I would have got to Detroit.
Yeah. And Grogu says it's the brother from the Godfather. Yes. This is really good. I think we both know why she's not so thin right now.
What the heck are they doing?
I don't know, but you're not supposed to pass on the right. They're just having fun.
Yeah, the problem with that is the other guy could have fun back.
True.
Yeah, there's fun and there's stupid fun. That was stupid fun. Whoa. There's the dome in the background now.
Uh-oh, they dropped a package. Yes, he is getting married. It's Grogu. Hey, JH Edits, how are you tonight? Hope you are well. We are watching The Deer Hunter. JH Edits, have you seen The Deer Hunter from 1978? And if so, did you see it in the theater? And good to see you.
You doing edits?
Of course, that's Meryl Streep there. Oh, okay, no worries, JH Edits, he says. I'm good. I've not seen it. I was not alive until 1981. Can't take my eyes off of you. Can't take my eyes off of you. And if it's quite all right. I'd forgotten about the cone heads. Let me love you. Can't take my eyes off of you. Aw.
What year is this supposed to be?
1978?
Definitely not 1978. I mean, in the movie.
1968.
Or 1960. Okay.
It was made, the film was made in 1978. Brogus has a lot of KFC on the fridge. Yep, well, you know how it is. He's already homesick.
Yeah, he hasn't even left yet.
That's right, Jay Edits. And Brogus says, I got a fever. The only prescription that I need is more Proud Bell. Guys. Yeah, Tom. Either they were, I guess they were all drafted or they all volunteered. So yeah, they're all going to Vietnam.
If they're all going, they probably did volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of them were volunteers.
I don't know how many of them are getting married, but we know one is definitely getting married. Yeah, Tom, maybe they are a little old. It's a good point. I have no idea how old they are, but and thank you, Tom. Only one of the guys is getting married. Oh, it's awful. She didn't use makeup to cover up the that she got punched in the face. Yeah, JH edits. I love these churches from this time period. They redid the one near me and it doesn't look the same inside. It's a lovely ceremony. Absolutely, Tom. This is an Orthodox ceremony. I was going to say maybe they're Orthodox Russians. Oh, okay. Yeah, JH Edits wants to know who the director is. And the director of the film is Michael Cimino. He Michael Cimino won an Academy Award for Best Director of this film. Oh, Broger, we're sorry you're tired. Maybe you do need to take a rest. If you have to, just close your eyes. You can always come back to the
Well,
film at a later time, Broger.
I guess there's not enough shooting, not enough action. Who's that supposed to be?
One of the three guys who's going to Vietnam, maybe? Or
Yeah, there's a bunch of them on the wall.
I think the pictures on the wall are nice.
Hmm.
They're proud of their men going off to war to fight. Hey, Mr. Landell's Groovy Movies is here. Hi, Mr. Landell's Groovy Movies. Good to see you. Oh my God, haven't seen this movie in some years. This was one of the first Vietnam movies, if memory serves me correctly. Hey, Mr. Landell Groovy Movies, did you see this movie in the movie theater? And have you seen this movie, Mr. Landell Groovy Movies? Let us know. And thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, definitely looks like some Eastern European dances.
Oh, yeah. This is like going to the wedding. Um, Mr. Londell's Groovy Movie says I was too young to watch it in theaters, but a local television station did run it unedited one night. Ooh. And of course, Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies is talking about a very famous scene, and it has to do with Russian roulette. He said it always stuck with me. You saw an unedited version of The Deer Hunter? Wow. That you were lucky to see that. Because, like, you were just very lucky to see an unedited version.
Yeah, they had someone just doing one of those Ukrainian kick-out dances.
Mm-hmm. Did the network's Darth Plato show unedited versions of these movies later at night, like maybe midnight and stuff like that, or are they always edited for the network?
Where I live, I think early on, I think they probably were like that. But once you started getting into the '90s, I think they were always edited. I think.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I remember they used to show Blazing Saddles, and they were saying the N word. But
Yeah,
then when they were into once you get into about 1990, past 1990, it was definitely edited.
and Grogu says, "Dance." I said, "Dance."
Yeah, when it comes to dancing, I agree with Phil Collins.
The only thing I remember about um, the editing of the movies was that they would send a message saying that the format of the movie has changed. It's been edited to fit your television screen. That's all I remember.
Oh, the Russian roulette scene. Okay, yeah, that's nasty.
So they spent a lot of time on the wedding part, 30 minutes into the film, the wedding and this thing, and I kind of like that. Yeah, JH Eddick, so are we, or at least I am. Hi, Lex Luther, how are you? Because howdy, y'all. Lex Luthor, did you see this movie already? And if you did you see it in the theater?
They're doing Wix.
Mr. Alondel's Groovy Movie says that was editing it from the widescreen to pan and scan to fit the small television screens. Movies were also edited for content, violence, nudity, language, etc. Thank you, Mr. Alondel's Groovy Movies. Is he hitting on the other guy's girlfriend? Paige, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something? Later?
Hmm?
I just hear like a noise in the background. But
I can hear it off.
JH Edit says I can remember seeing the unedited version of Ghostbusters for the first time. Felt like a totally different movie and loved it. Hmm.
You're probably hearing of the fans. I actually have two fans here running this direction. Can't you tell from the billowing? That's not cool. I don't know what's going on there. That was weird.
Yeah, that seemed really weird. And JH Edit says it's all good, Darth Plato. Stay cool, my friend.
bloody 91 now.
91?
Yeah, 91 degrees. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's 72 here.
Want to trade?
Yes. Yes, please.
Whoa. I'm not sure what's going on here.
Jake Zedek says, I'm actually missing a little bit. I'm popping popcorn on the stove. Sounds perfect. I just had some shrimp cocktail. It was delicious. I'm going to ask JH Edits, is that with or without butter? Mr. Londell's groovy movie says popcorn without butter is an unpardonable sin. But J&H Edit says, hey, popped, but without but oil popped canola oil. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Sounds good.
Yeah, I have a little different approach. I don't do butter on popcorn. I make my popcorn with M&Ms.
Nice. That sounds delicious and quite a treat. Oh man. Now, can you imagine approaching someone and asking them to explain what Vietnam is like, Darth Plato? This just seems so unbelievable.
Yeah, you'd also get 10 different answers from 10 different people.
Mhm.
But it was a genuinely messed up conflict, and I don't mean just because war is hell or war in general. That was a whole separate category of messed up. And I already talked about that a couple weeks ago. It wasn't World War I bad, but it was pretty bad.
And of course, Darth Plato, we are seeing essentially just the overall naivete of the men here when they're approaching this soldier.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Um, After the Second World War, there was just this general relief that the war was over and everybody's celebrating, and no one really asked if it was, did we do the right thing? Did we do good? I think we did, but it was just taken for granted, and no one really questioned it, and it kind of just rolled into the Korean War, and people had this like victory fever, this raised expectation, and Korea was a bit of a dampener for that, but I think it continued into Vietnam, which is why the 70% of the ground force were volunteers. It was precisely because of that. And after the experience with Vietnam, I think it definitely went away. The there was no raised expectation that we were out there to do good, that we were doing a good thing. Nobody could say that about Vietnam.
Hmm, that is very interesting, and I'm glad that you mentioned that and brought that forward. That that
So
concept and
I think that's where these guys were coming from. Like, yeah, what's it like, man? Yeah, I think that's where they were coming from. And he was just sort of looking at him like, "Are you for real?"
And JH Eddick says, I'm a Reese's Pieces man myself. Whenever I think about Reese's Pieces, I think about E.T., guys. I think about E.T. Now, he just proposed to his girlfriend here. He had to do something because these other guys are like pawing at her, right, Darth Plato?
Well, not necessarily. That not necessarily a good song either. Um, if you're going to propose to somebody, you better spend a lot of time together first.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. Was that like taboo or something? I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah, they said if you don't spill a drop after drinking the wine, it means that you will have good luck for life. But she spilled 2 drops on her dress.
You know, that's too bad.
And that's 47 minutes into the film. We got to see this part of their lives. It's so important to them, and this really seems like a it's not a perfect life, but they seem happy somewhat. I wouldn't say it's the most unhappy part of their lives, but
Yeah, aside from my Greek, big fat Greek wedding, I'm not sure if this is, might be the biggest wedding scene I've ever seen in a movie.
serving God and country proudly. Yeah, I feel the same way, Brogu. We all went to this wedding together. Um, Grogu says, I felt like I attended a real wedding. It did feel very, very real to me as well, Brogu. Whew. But I didn't catch the bouquet. So then that means that she's pregnant by someone else.
The guy seems like a real jerk.
Weird. I don't get that.
Some people are just nuts. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a real story and they incorporate it into the movie.
He is nude. He's actually running nude. Well, I guess that could happen at a wedding, you know. Whew. Yes, Brogu. He was running naked down the street. Where are the cops? If you go down the street for an ice cream cone, I got 3 cops looking at me like I robbed a bank. Oh, I'm sorry, Brogu. No, that's just silly. Wow, it looks kind of cold.
I wonder where that is.
Kroger says that car is going to stop running in a little while. It's been tripping a lot. It says Western Virginia, Pennsylvania, Washington, and Ohio were the I hope I'm saying the right place. Some of the location shots.
Yeah, it's a nice looking place, but I wouldn't want to spend the night out there.
It's really pretty though. Yeah, J&H Edits, that was harsh language. Alright, so about an hour into this film.
Not the biggest hunting fan.
Um, I guess they're gonna leave in a few days to go to, Vietnam, J&H Edits. They just had a big wedding, they just went on a deer hunt, and this might be the last weekend, I guess, they're together, stateside.
You ever been camping like that?
Camping, I didn't see very much. I mean, they were in a, cabin, um, but we didn't see much of it, but I've gone a few places where you had to be inside of a tent versus a cabin. It was nice. I like camping, so I don't know.
Hmm.
What about you, Darth Plato?
No, absolutely miserable. Done it twice. They were both miserable experiences. The first time was a lot like this: a bunch of yelling, burping idiots with beer. It was really, 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 really miserable.
And Jane H. Edits, we're about a third through the film. This is a 3-hour film. Um, yeah, J.H. Edis says, I camped a lot when I was younger.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh my goodness. Oh dear. Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, the flamethrower was for taking out a fortified position without having to approach it head on. I'm not sure what happened right there. They're just random explosions.
They're prisoners. Yeah, this is really intense. Mm.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. Yeah, it's probably messed up forever. Well, that makes it a 50-50 chance. These guys were crazy to begin with. This will make them even more crazier.
Yeah.
What a moment.
Wow.
And by the way, people will gamble on anything.
Oops. Accidentally clicked the wrong button. That was so intense. Yeah. JH Edit says that the film took a hard turn. Yes.
How many are them now? There's three of them?
I don't know.
Might be two. Well, that guy's still alive. For a long time during the 80s, there were stories like that around that the Red Cross didn't get everybody out, that there were still people kept POWs in North Vietnam because some crazy people in the army didn't give them up. They just kept them out someplace doing all sorts of horrible things to them. They even made a Chuck Norris movie about it once. Who knows? That might be where they got the idea for this. The heck was that?
Yeah, JH Edit says Rambo also. And Mr. Londell's Groovy Movie says Uncommon Valor was, I think, the first movie that explored that there were still POWs still in Vietnam. Thank you, guys. What did you guys who haven't seen this think about that? I know JH Edits talked about it. It was brutal. What did you guys think about how they escaped?
Not impossible.
And they're being rescued from this bridge. It's very, very dramatic. Oh dear.
Yeah, all kinds of crazy things happen in war. I don't disbelieve it. They're not going to be able to fly the entire way hanging on like that, though.
No, no way. They just have to get them a field, I guess. Broku says yes, Rambo 2 was about a POW still out there. Yeah, J.H. Edis says I thought it was top-notch filmmaking. And the escape was lucky as all get out. Yeah, agreed.
They just fell in the water.
Oh, man. And guys, we're about an hour and a half through, and we're pretty much through half of the film. Um, this wasn't really a lot in this film to take in.
Now it's just the two of them. That's it. Yeesh.
Oh, oh, oh. Oh, man.
Yeah, it was a hell of a time those years, Vietnam.
Yeah.
Like 1955 until I guess 1990. It was just constant war, or even before 55, because with the Viet Minh. Yeah, so really going back to the 1930s ish. That's about the better part of 60 years. Yeah, the Dutch fought an 80-year war once, so it's not unprecedented. He carried him that whole way.
He got lucky. He just got lucky that there was a truck there and that they could take him.
Yeah,
JH Edit says war is hell. It certainly is.
a lot of luck involved too. Could have just as easily been the enemy. Would have liked to know where this is and when. Well, they're in Saigon now.
It says that the scenes of the Russian roulette were um, shot with real rats, mosquitoes, and were tied up in bamboo cages erected along the River Kwai.
What is so what's going on, Tom? Is Rob on? Man, freaking, I would never be able to. Man.
Whew. They are not going to be doing what I think they're doing.
He may want in. He may want in.
I don't believe it if this is what I think is happening. uh, uh, oh, I don't believe it.
I don't know how common this is, but yeah, this is something that happens.
The guy with the abacus, why? And look who else is there. Mr. Londell Groovy Movie says, remember that this movie came out about the time we started recognizing how much trouble Vietnam vets were having mentally.
That's quite a scene. Well, the medical community has always known that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know when physicians really started to take notice of this, but there's definitely people writing about it as far back in the 1700s. But public awareness, yeah, I don't know. I think Sigmund Freud wrote a big piece about this in the aftermath of World War One about PTSD. I think that's where PTSD comes from. I think he named it, but it was still controversial about whether it was a medical issue or whether it was something in the head or if it needed to be treated at all. There were a lot of gung ho types who were like, there's nothing wrong with them. They're just a bunch of cowards. They're just belly aching. There were people who were like that. Patton was like that. Um, yeah, what was different about Vietnam though is because this was the first war where you could watch it from your living room. You didn't have to go to the movie or just or were limited to the paper. It was right there in your living room, and the public awareness was for pretty much everything about war, including post-war traumatic syndrome. Yeah, I absolutely believe that. That's probably true. I think that's why movies like this resonate with people.
Almost feels like, I mean, it's we had that first third of the film with the wedding, and then the second third of the film looks like it was in Vietnam, and the third part of the film, it's like these three acts of this movie. um Now this, how do they function in the life that they knew before, in the world they knew before? JH Edit says there are still people like that to this day. Thank you, JH Edits. And it is interesting talking about the response or even acknowledgement of trauma for soldiers in a war.
Yes,
Is
and they're always being made new ones because war hasn't gone away,
Yeah.
and it never will be.
I remember this song. I gotta say, Darth Plato, Robert De Niro's great in this.
He is. He's a phenomenal actor. He always has been.
And Mr. Londell's Groovy Movie says, add to that time, it would take a soldier to transition from combat zone back to home. He had time to find ways in some cases to deal with it. That
Yeah,
time was cut in half at the
yeah,
least.
yeah, that's true. I'm not going to gainsay that, but there's another layer to this because of the Vietnam War, because of the politicization of the war at home, and it was a legit problem. Some vets were not welcome in a lot of places. Like oh, you bum, you fought for a bad war. Who do you think you are? There were people who were like that. You saw that in Hamburger Hill. It's like, oh, I can't write letters to you. It's immoral. That just made it even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same for Russian vets after World War One. They had a similar treatment.
J.H. Eddix mentions they couldn't get jobs back home. Hmm.
And it's not just the soldiers, by the way. It wasn't just the soldiers.
Linwood Kent says it was disgraceful how the Vietnam vets were treated. I remember it well. Thank you, Linwood Kent, for letting us know. Um, thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah,
Just heartbreaking.
it resonated across the country. It was one of the contributing factors for the landslide of 1972. The utter train wreck that was the McGovern campaign.
Yeah, JH edits the things we do in this country. Whew. No.
We should do a fashion show.
He's not weird. He's been sniffing around you for a long time now, girl. He's not weird. Although I think when he returned home, he was hoping that she would be able to tell him where his friend is. I think he was hoping for that. What do you think, Darth Plato?
I don't know what he was hoping for. I think he just wanted to see familiar faces. You might be right then. I don't quite understand how they got separated.
Well, I'm assuming his friend has a mental break. That's what I'm guessing, but, um, it may not be the truth. I don't know. We have to see the film and maybe they'll say more about it.
So these are the only guys that are left.
I don't know. She's engaged, isn't she? Okay, thank you so much, Jane H. Edits, who says, I think he was looking for some sanity. Yeah. So he's now in the position that other soldier was in when they were at the wedding, and they went up to him asking him what Vietnam was like. You remember the beginning of the film?
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a good contrast.
JH Edit says he's kind of in denial about his issues. Definitely. He was trying to avoid this whole, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. He was trying to avoid all this.
I probably would too.
I don't think I'd be shoving my tongue down some guy's throat who just came back from war. I can tell you that much. That was very brazen. Yeah, she did go for it, didn't she, JH? She was just like, I'm going to kiss this guy. I don't care. Wow. Yep. There's nothing wrong with it, honestly, but you could tell he needed some breathing space. Yeah, I agree, Janie It's absolutely. She just surprised me. I was not expecting her to do that. And Dino Dinosaur's here. Hi, Dino Dinosaur. Says, I always wondered what happened to John Cazale. Rest in peace, 1978, after watching this film. I only found out about his relationship with Meryl in her recent interview. Yeah, the timing is funny, isn't it?
There were just a few that went to the war, not all of them.
And Dino Dinosaur goes on to say in 1977, Cazale was diagnosed with lung cancer, but he chose to complete his role in The Deer Hunter.
What? He went up. He's living out in the mountains now, or something.
She's drunk. JH Edits says this has been a great movie, but I'm gonna have to watch some Star Trek after this or something. Yeah, yeah. This is a heavy one, guys. Very, very heavy indeed.
That's pretty funny. I don't think you're supposed to do that.
It is goofball, goofball. I hope it doesn't get caught in there. Oh, he did get caught in it. That probably could have really hurt him badly. I wonder why he would do that.
It was a special ball. Some people have a special bowling ball, and they don't want to use just some generic ball.
Yeah, probably drinking as well contributed to that behavior, JH Edits. This is really pretty looking.
It is, but again, I wouldn't want to sleep out there.
Ooh. It's really steep and it looks like a little glacier below or part of a glacier or something. So pretty.
Yeah, I think in the background almost looks like the Matterhorn.
Mm.
That almost looks like Yosemite Falls, almost. Yeah, it's not nearly high enough.
Yeah, it was big JH edits. My God, what's wrong with him? That's not cool.
Really? We're gonna do this now?
Whew. Got about 30 minutes or so left of this incredible film. Yeah, that might be one of the last times I'd want to go on a camping trip with him. I think I might have to like say that's the last one. Because none of them are like that was the best trip ever. Like none of them are saying that.
Pretty much how all my trips were.
Wow, really? Mr. Londell's Groovy Movie says, I think I'm going to be checking Criterion to see if they have this on Blu-ray. Wow. Hey, Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies, please do check and let us know if there are any special features or anything like that with this film. I'd be really interested to find out what might be on that as well on a film as remarkable as this one. And I hope it's on Blu-ray and or 4K. I don't know. Yeah, it does have to be Blu-ray at least. I'm guessing maybe somebody in the chat knows if this is on 4K. Hey, single songwriter, how are you? So good to see you. My go-to expert for anything Star Wars says, I've not seen this movie since I was a teenager and it was disturbing but unforgettable to this day. Hey, single songwriter, did you see this film in the movie theater? I'd really like to know. And single songwriter, if you did see this film in the theater, what was it like? How did the audience react to this? Let me know. You said you were a teenager at the time. So good to see you, single songwriter. We're up to 2 hours and about 20 minutes in the film. It's a remarkable film. And I'm so glad that we are watching all this together. Glad you're all here. And I hope you're well, single songwriter. And thanks so much, Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies. It is on Amazon, has it on Blu-ray and 4K. Glad to hear that. Let us know when you get it. Like I said, if you come back, let us know if there were special features and what you saw that impressed you with it as well. Okay. Thank you so much, single songwriter, who says, yes, in the theater with my younger brother and dad. It was very good and disturbing. Then seen it again when HBO was created. Single songwriter, thank you so much for sharing that with us. You're the only one here so far who has seen it in the theater. I'm sure this film must have been one of the most shocking things. Definitely left an impression on you, as you said, unforgettable and disturbing. Certainly all those things. And it is great to see you, single songwriter. It's such a pleasure as always. Um, Glad you are doing well. And single songwriter says, my dad was like the great Santini growing up. Oh, gosh. Oh, thank you, Tom, who says, yes, there are special features on the 4K. There's an audio commentary and deleted and extended scenes. Thanks so much, Tom. And Tom, do you own this film? I'm guessing not, since you said you haven't seen it, but you never know. And are you considering purchasing it, just like Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies will be picking it up? All right, so now we're going to be yes, I'm so glad to hear that Mr. Orlando's review movie says he's going to get it on Saturday and Tom wants to pick it up as well. Um let's get it. My drink here. And for many of these men who came back, oh, he's going to the VA, he's going to the this is also the hospital, right? Yeah, he's going to the hospital as well. I don't know whether it's in the same place. Yeah, single songwriter says, excellent cast of characters. Some became huge actors, as we know. Absolutely, single songwriter. Um, I'm just so impressed with Robert De Niro's performance in this movie. I just think he's really so wonderful in this.
He's got to be careful. The orderlies will take that.
Oh, the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, single songwriter says, yeah, this was a big role for him outside a taxi driver. Yeah, this was he's brilliant in this. And I know that that scene was not easy for the role.
You know what this is?
Yes, these are people coming back from Vietnam and
It looks
some
like the. It looks
wait a
like
minute.
the. It
These
looks
are
like
people at the airport either trying to leave or coming back in the in an I guess you would call it an active zone.
it looks like the fall of Saigon.
Yeah, maybe it is. Let's see.
That was a really bad situation. They literally were standing on the top of the roof waiting for the helicopter to pick them up. Yeah, this is the fall of Saigon.
Good call. Good call, Brett Plato.
Yeah, they were there
Yep,
surrounding.
yep, that's it.
It's just
That's
like
it.
what happened to Afghanistan a couple of years ago. Remember where they were surrounding the plane, trying to get on the
I
plane while the plane was
do
leaving?
remember that.
Yeah, this is what that is.
Yeah, good call.
Really, really ugly.
So, interesting, very interesting. People were running desperately to get out of there.
Where the NBA was invading, and
Yeah,
by the time the U.S. Army had pretty much withdrawn, the only people who were there were special forces operators and the Marines at the embassy. That's pretty much it. Arvin couldn't stand up to them.
And it is exactly as you said. It's shortly. It says shortly before its fall. Well, at least that's what they describe. So it's around that time. Just unbelievable. The time that he's going. What we're going to see is essentially him
That,
going
yeah.
back to Saigon just now for a particular purpose. Um,
Some of this footage might be real.
yeah. JH Edit says De Niro is always excellent. I'm really looking forward to Killers of the Flower Moon. Yes, another one of his films coming out pretty soon. And guys, I know this has been a long film tonight, but certainly a worthwhile one with just maybe 15 minutes or so left in this extraordinary film. All right. Single songwriter says, I met a girl in the late 80s. Her mom was one of the women hanging on the helicopter with her baby in the old footage. Her name was Huang Tu. I'll never forget that person. My goodness, single songwriter. Wow. That really does certainly put it into perspective. She hung on because she knew she had to get out of there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've met people from that part of the world who have stories like that. Yeah, I knew one guy who
Thank you
said
for
he
letting
had
us know,
family
single
on.
songwriter. Certainly very, a very. And Mr. Londale's Groovy Movies says De Niro, directed by Scorsese, would be well worth it. Oh, thank you, single songwriter. Thank you so much for saying that. Single songwriter says, good choice of movie, RM. More people should see it. Absolutely. And single songwriter, every Thursday, Darth, Plato, and I post a historical movie, something that doesn't necessarily get shown as much. All good films. We certainly enjoy watching films that we consider to be significant. And it's such a pleasure to see you here. I agree, more people should see a film like The Deer Hunter.
Yeah, if Fall of Saigon is really going on, this would be dangerous for any of them to be there.
I can see why the Frenchman doesn't want to take him, doesn't even want to go down there.
Well, it would be dangerous for the French
Right.
too because they hated the French as much as they hated the Americans.
And this French guy, he doesn't want to get killed. He doesn't want to have anything to do with that. Um, and single songwriter says kudos to Darth Plato as well.
And the only outsiders who were safe were just the Red Cross. That was it. How you doing, single songwriter?
You know what's kind of weird about this part is that could these be also the same bastards that kidnapped him and forced him to play this game? Like, not because he killed them, but it's part of the same group. I mean, how does he know that this could just be the same? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of weird
Yeah.
and somewhat frightening.
Did you ever see the Russian roulette movie with Jason Statham? He wasn't the star, but he was in it. Mickey Rourke was in it too.
Hmm. Oh boy. I'm preparing myself, single songwriter. It says, prepare yourself for the ending. It really messed me up as a kid. And from that moment, I was a fan of Christopher Walken. And of course, Christopher Walken won an Academy Award for this role. Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
Mr. Londell's review says, yeah, it does get hard at this point. Oh my goodness gracious.
It sounds like a guy who left his past behind.
He's not the same person anymore. Oh no.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe they're in the same position they were when they were captives. This is unbelievable.
It's an adrenaline rush. Some people, it's just a rush for some people. It's like a drug.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, oh no. Hmm. And single songwriter says John Savage was yelling for the director to pull him out of the water because of the fear of rats. He was in the cage with rats in the water. The trauma was real in that scene. And he says, I told you it was traumatizing. It will stay with you forever. It's so awful. Hey, Irene. Yeah, you're just coming at the tail end of this film. We've been watching it. It's a 3-hour film called The Deer Hunter. So when you get a chance, maybe you don't want to watch it, but it certainly is quite a gripping film, Irene. You want to watch it, not with the kiddies. Yeah, Tom, I am speechless too. What a tragedy. And JH Edit says gut wrenching. Definitely, Mr. Londell's Groovy Movie says, well worth the 5 Oscars it won in 1978. Absolutely, guys. It won for Best Picture. Christopher Walken won for Best Supporting Actor. Cimino, the director, won for Best Director. Trying to remember all the awards it won. Also won for Best Sound and Best Film Editing.
And this is what I like. I like a serious film.
Oh, thank you, Irene. You didn't have to do that. Irene, thank you so much. Save the animals, but also I like steak. LOL. Irene, thank you for supporting the channel. You've always been such a kind person and always just so caring. Thank you, Irene. And I hope the kitties are doing okay tonight. Irene, such a pleasure to speak to you and see you. I mean, at the beginning of the film, Darth Plato, we saw the entire town celebrating at this wedding
Yeah.
with the three men who were, being pretty much praised for, going into service, and then of course Christopher Walken proposing to um, Meryl Streep's character. It looked like they had such great futures ahead of them, and their lives have been so altered now. Certainly, such a change and such a tragedy for Christopher Walken's character. This has just been so altering for so many of them. Yeah, Irene, it will mess with you.
Yeah, this is probably the most psychological movie we've seen since All Quiet on the Western Front.
I agree, Darth Plato. Certainly there are a lot of themes that are explored in this, and of course you and I were talking about that, still the naiveness of um, those around them and what this experience was like for these soldiers and what it honestly means for the rest of their lives, how that change, you know and they can never go back to the way things were before. Um, single songwriter says, what's going on here? Okay, single songwriter says it does mess you up, Irene. Trust me, it really does. This is an incredibly truthful, I would say, truthful film that isn't trying to sugarcoat anything, and just an unbelievable film. Dino Dinosaur says 2024 Dune Part 2, Christopher Walken, the Emperor. Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah,
Um,
he is. Yeah.
and Irene says, Tom, let me know when I'm ready to watch this. Wait till the kids are grown up. Don't watch. This is really kind of an adult one. My mother wanted to watch the movie tonight. When I told her what it was, she didn't want to watch it. She said, I can't watch The Deer Hunter right now. Single Songwriter says the slapping in the Russian roulette sequences was 100% authentic. The actors grew very agitated by the constant slapping, which naturally added to the realism of the scenes. I had no idea about that. Single Songwriter. I was wondering what was going on, and of course, this was a horrible torture scene for the soldiers when they were captured and kept prisoner. That shocked me. I didn't know that we were going to see something like that in this film. It was very difficult to watch. Ooh, I didn't plug in. Oh, I unplugged it. Okay. I didn't know I was going to be seeing that in this film, everybody. Oops, it's the wrong one. There we go. Mr. Londell's groovy movie says yes. Walken plays Shaddam the Fourth. It'll be interesting to see how he interprets as an emperor.
He's just another antagonist for him, really.
It says, is it what? Single Songwriter says Russian roulette scenes, a live round was put in the gun to heighten the actor's tension. However, to make sure the bullet was not in the chamber before the trigger was pulled. Yeah, that's very uncomfortable, Single Songwriter. I really would not be comfortable, and probably they wouldn't allow it now, right? Single Songwriter, with everything that's happened, especially with what happened with Baldwin on the New Mexico set, maybe they wouldn't allow this anymore. Yeah, that part, Tom. And I remember this song. I don't know who wrote it, but I do remember this music because, as I said, guys, whenever this movie came on the TV, my father and brother would watch it, and I wasn't allowed to be in the room. But I do remember this music, and they just watched it like it was their film. That and you guys, as you know, they did take me to see The Exterminator in the movie. So um, this was such a big film for my brother and father, and they just would watch this, as I said, whenever it came on. Tom says in that scene when Christopher Walken spits on De Niro, his reaction is real and was so upset he left the set.
Yeah, there
This,
was another. Yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead, Dr. Leto.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just reading, warning this movie is not for the faint of heart, and ending it the scene with that wedding where there's all this hope and excitement about life and your whole future's ahead of you, and isn't it wonderful to start your life that way? It's very interesting dichotomy, I think, for the visual arts here. Darth Plato, what were you going to say about this extraordinary film that we watched tonight?
Well, to continue what I was saying before, it's this is one of the most psychologically intense movies I've probably ever seen, and certainly one of the most I've seen this year, beside All Quiet on the Western Front. I mean, that appealed to me for a different reason that I'm not going to get into here, but this is yeah, I didn't know that about this movie. Honestly, it just completely skipped me. I didn't watch Godfather till the year 2000, and yeah, the Vietnam War part I didn't really care for. That wasn't my favorite part of the movie. But when when they show back home and everything after that, it's a very heady movie.
Yeah, this it really was. an incredibly beautiful screenplay. And I think that the execution of this film was also done so beautifully and with so much care. It didn't feel unauthentic at any point. It didn't feel staged. I think that the lighting, especially in a lot of the scenes of Vietnam where we didn't have perfect lighting, you couldn't see everything. A lot of it felt very dark and murky. I think that was more realistic what it might have been like. And certainly I liked it, especially since it kind of kept you in the dark. You were going into this realm of war and it was mysterious, and you didn't have the advantage, even if with a weapon or intelligence or anything like that. I love how they kept it kind of, it was a little bit darker, and there was this sense of you were missing information. You didn't have all the information you needed. And certainly seeing Robert De Niro, this extraordinary role, he felt he had to take care of his friends. I think that that's truly something that we do see with a lot of men in general. But I loved the care that Robert De Niro took in this role. He really wanted to show his friends that they could get through this, they can make it through. And I think that's so important, even to the end. If that's not the case, it's so important to have that person who's pushing you through to support you, having that support system, even in the most difficult of situations, which we saw in a film that was a harrowing experience, a very difficult experience. So beautifully portrayed. The actors, the Vietnamese actors. I don't know if they're actually Vietnamese, but let's say the actors who were supposed to be Vietnamese were also excellent. Darth Plato, they were excellent in this as well. I want to give credit to that too. I don't know who those actors are, but it felt very real to me, and I could feel the fear and the intimidation that those soldiers were feeling. I think that that was also something that was terrifying to witness, and the effect that it had, how it broke Christopher Walken. He just went AWOL, and the track marks on his arm, he just wasn't the same person anymore. He just had, couldn't return back from it. It really was a lovely performance by him. And the men did all this ensemble had great chemistry, but all that future, their future being, they thought they had, the world and all these wonderful things ahead of them in their lives, and now their lives are forever changed. Darth Plato, what how would you rate this film, if you had to give it, I don't know, out of 10 or whatever, what how would you rate it?
Well, to answer your question quickly, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. But I wanted to follow up on what you said about the actor's portrayal in the movie. I wanted to thank the people on the chat for offering details about the making of the film and the things that they did to put the actors in the state of mind to doing the scenes. I didn't know any of that, and I really appreciate that kind of insight because it really does make you look at this movie a little bit differently than I might have before. I might just look at it and say, yeah, that's a well acted scene, but now I know part of the reason why that is, and I appreciate the feedback about that. And yeah, I don't think I can rate this movie below a 9.
Yeah, Darth Plato, I would agree with you as well. Dino Dinosaur says in Vietnam, the average age of the combat soldier was 19. Rest in peace, the fallen. Thank you, Dino Dinosaur. And Irene says that her mom's first love was an MIA Vietnam drafted vet. Oh my goodness. And certainly JH Edits is waving. Good night, JH Edits. I'm figuring you are gone for the night. So thank you for sticking around and telling us all your thoughts about the film. Yes, Irene, there were a lot of injured individuals in the line of service, and we have to thank them all for their service. And Tom tells us that it's because of her involvement with Cazale and his death and her performance in the film that Dustin Hoffman wanted her for Kramer versus Kramer. Certainly another great film. Um, yes, my internet hasn't been acting right today. So I apologize. Sounds like a real life tragic PTSD story. Uh, Single songwriter says Christopher Walken achieved the withdrawn, hollow look of his character by eating nothing but rice and bananas. Wow, single songwriter. You certainly do know a lot about this
Yes,
film.
yeah,
And
that's exactly the kind of detail I was talking about. It's stuff like that that actors will do to put them in the mind. I read something a while back about what's his name, the guy that played Rick on Walking Dead, where he said he punched the wall several times before doing a scene to put him in an irate state, so that he would look like he was really frazzled when he did the scene. And I love the fact that actors will actually do that. It's awesome. I'm not sure if their directors today they really care about that level of detail. I don't know the answer to that. That'd be a good question for Rob.
And Irene says, it kind of makes me sad, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Sad feelings are just as real as happy ones, and balance is important. Tom Jr. Jackson mentions um, that the deaths of approximately 28 people who died playing Russian roulette were reported as having been influenced by scenes in the movie. Yeah, wow. And
I believe it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
believe it.
I that's remarkable. Tom, thank you. I thought it was just me. I was on a stream earlier today, and the host was kicked out of the stream. So the internet just has not been uh, functioning properly today. But I do want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson, my moderator, collaborator, and good friend, for being here today. We are all good people, Tom. And guys, remember, Tom has his own YouTube channel. So make sure you like and subscribe to Tom Jr. Jackson's YouTube channel as well. I also wanted to thank Irene for the super chat. Irene, you didn't have to do that, but you did. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and it makes it, you know, it allows me to kind of continue to do this because I do pay for this service, StreamYard, and every penny counts. And I so appreciate your generosity. It's wonderful having you here. This was a very emotional and deep movie. Um, and I also want to thank you, single songwriter, who says, it messed me up, RM. LOL, me and my brother were too young to see it, but we lived with a great Santini. So we went to a bunch of war movies back then. Well, single songwriter, you remind me of the time that my brother and father took me to see The Exterminator. That's right, The Exterminator. And I think I was like maybe 6 or 7 to
Really.
see this film. I was just a little girl, and my mother was very upset with them. But yes, I understand your pain. At least at home, I couldn't see the deer hunter when I was younger. So mom was like, no, you can't see that. But that would be very traumatic thing, I think, a young kids to see. Um, but
Is it, there's two different kinds of violence in this movie. There's the violence of war, which we did see. It's what you expect in war. War messes people up, and I don't. Well, you've watched the war movies. You know what I mean. But the Russian roulette stuff, that's a whole different thing. That's willingness to do violence to get a rush and get paid. That's a whole nother thing, and that adds a whole layer of psychology to this that you don't see in a lot of war. This isn't just a war movie. This is I'm not sure how to classify it. Honestly, it's like science fiction, or you call it like psychology fiction.
it's like psychological warfare, right, Darth Plato, where they have things like brainwashing and making people confess to stuff that they didn't do, making them
Sure.
hurt others, all that sort of stuff, flogging, torture, which they did beat these men. We didn't see all of the beating on camera, but they were beating them very badly
I'm sure.
in addition to making them do that. So it was an incredible amount of torture, and psychologically, it could break anyone. Um, these this was just an incredible film, and certainly a very, I think, interesting example of steel workers who volunteered or were drafted or whatever, volunteered to go to war. Um, it's just such a heartbreaking story, but it needed to be told. And I think that this was one of the best. I think it was based on a book, guys. You correct me if I'm wrong. A fantastic adaptation or a play. I think it was based on a book or a play. I think it was a fantastic adaptation. Screen, let's say if we're looking at the moving image, a fantastic moving image adaptation of something that's not easy to put on the screen. It's not easy to make a film like this, and certainly it was not easy to watch this film. I think that this director has achieved an incredible um, uh, cinematic experience. You don't forget this, as you said, single songwriter. You can't forget this film after you've seen it. And Darth Plato, you mentioned how you like serious films. This certainly, I think, may
Mm.
um, be a good example of a film that I would say does some bit of accuracy in explaining and perhaps showing an experience that is not easy to show in cinematically. You can read this, but once you've seen this film, it's quite a different experience from reading it in a book, isn't it? Um, so yeah, this is remarkable. This film was made in 1978, Darth Plato. So it's got some years on it, but it doesn't feel old or out of date. What do you think?
I think they could have showed this movie even earlier, and it would have resonated with people. They showed it in '78. The psychology, the what we're talking about, was going on before the fall of Saigon, while the war was still going on. So it's not. So '78 may sound early, but it actually isn't. It's I don't know what to say beyond that. It's it's well, movie making is a form of art, and if we look at this as a form of art, it's art that's trying to tell us something, not political. It's not trying to be political. Like, well, I mean, at least not overtly.
You were 14? Oh my gosh, single songwriter. That's young. Irene says she loves to see our beautiful faces. Thank you, Irene. And Irene says violence for no reason seems psychological and crazy, and I deal with mental health, so I think Clockwork Orange, or whatever that movie was. Yes, a Clockwork Orange is a famous conditioning film. Let's say psychological conditioning. Um, my Mr. Londell's groovy movie says the best way to describe this movie is an aftermath story. Yeah, yeah, Mr. Londell, it certainly does deal with that, right? And of course, the rest of their lives, it affects their whole families. We could see how the community was also changed. Single songwriter says, I used to take care of mentally challenged people, and one person said to me, it stuck with me forever. He said, you did not have to be in Vietnam War to feel its effect. He was so right. Wow, that is very interesting thing to say, certainly, and something to think about of how it affects us all. Um, 14 single songwriter? Wow, that's young. Um, yeah. And once again, thank you, Tom Jr. Jackson. You're so great for everything that you do on the channel. Darth Plato, any final thoughts and comments about this extraordinary film that really is a must see?
Just the Vietnam War stuff, but I think I have my fill on that with the Hamburger Hill video. If anybody wants to hear, if anybody wants to hear what I have to say about the Vietnam War, watch the Hamburger Hill stream. That's so. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Absolutely. I want to thank Irene again for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Irene. I so appreciate it. And it is a pleasure to see you. It's a pleasure to see everybody who is here
Yeah,
tonight.
I like steak too, so long as somebody else is paying.
And thank you, everybody who was here. Linwood Kent, of course, Brogu, who was here earlier. And I imagine is here. JH Edits, who also stepped out already. Good to see you, JH Edits. Wex Luther was here. Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies, who's going to come back and let us know what you think about everything that's on there. Let us know what those special features are like and everything like that. Please do. When you order it, you're going to get it in a few days, as you said. And everybody, I think that is everybody except for Dino Dinosaur as well. Dino Dinosaur, thanks for stopping by this very long stream. And Single Songwriter, it's such a pleasure to see you, Single Songwriter. It's as always.
I mean, I'll say this: I'm not a movie maker, but if I was, I'd want to make something more like this than something like Ahsoka or some of the other stuff you've been seeing recently. That's the kind of stuff that I would want to make, stuff like this.
All right. Well, I agree. This is something that I'd be proud to make. proud to be part of making certainly something as impactful as this, and certainly something that has it's just unbelievable. Single song artist says, "Thank you, RM and Darth Plato. No nightmares, okay? No, no nightmares. I'll be okay." But it actually does uh
No,
make
I've read stuff worse than this. I assure you.
it actually does give you, like heart palpitations in it's an incredibly stressful situation. And certainly, it's unfortunate that that whole event had to take place. But if they were going to show something to describe an experience of an American going through something like this, I think this one is certainly is an impactful one, done very well. And once again, Darth Plato, where can people find you?
Who cares? No, you can find me right here on the Positive Fandom, what I like to call the It Show.
And sometimes you can find Darth Plato on the Burnettwork. You can find me on Positive Fandom and on the Burnettwork as well. I just want to thank everybody for being here. And Darth Plato, this has been such an incredible experience tonight. Thank you, everybody who's here. I'm going to be doing a stream. I think I'm going to be doing a stream on Uncivilized Scoundrels in a little while. So
Oh,
certainly
you
do
are?
check me out. Yeah, on the 1/6 Scale Man Network.
Well, you still have to watch Wheel of Time because you had to shut them on.
I do. I will be watching the Wheel of Time at some point tomorrow, but certainly do check me out tonight if you have time. Like, God bless you if you have time after this. And I got to go check on mom, make sure she's sitting in the living room watching whatever she's watching. She didn't want to watch the Deer Hunter, and I understand why. Guys, here's Tom Junior Jackson's YouTube channel. Link right here. Make sure you like and subscribe to Tom Junior Jackson's YouTube channel. And thank you, everybody. Please be kind and unwind. Yes, absolutely. Pleased with all your thoughts and comments about the film, everybody. And of course, Darth Plato as well. Guys, remember, no matter where you are in the galaxy, always remember to please be kind. Take care, everybody.